Elgin Jones and the South Florida Time is speaking with Babacar M'Bow, and we're talking about the Ebohon Collection of artwork at the African American Research Library and Cultural Center in Fort Lauderdale. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Tell us about the collection.
The Osemwegie Ebohon Collection at the African American Research Library and Cultural Center is composed of about 150 artwork from Africa. It was loaned to the African American Research Library and Cultural Center following the opening of the center in the early 2000s. The collection in itself is unique in the sense that, and the process by which it came to the library is unique in the sense that this was the first time that a black research library has directly had access to an African collection in Africa, contrary to the other processes by which black institutions pass through mainstream institutions such as the Smithsonian, etc. So it was a very original process by which a black institution get access directly from Africa to original artwork from Africa itself.
Okay. And tell us about your area of expertise. What is your title at the Broward County Library?
I'm the International Program Coordinator and exhibit for the Broward County Library Division.
And you have expertise in African art?
My work is mostly, my research and my work focus on Africa and African diaspora. Therefore, most of my publications are based on African art or people of African diaspora's production of visual meanings, as we say. The field is very important to people of African descent because as Africa is basically, people of African descent came from an oral civilization. It was not written, so it is through artwork that the history is documented.
And my understanding is now I have viewed the artwork, and there appears to be damage to what is called the Queen Idia Mask. Tell us about that. You received these artifacts when they first arrived at the library system, and what was their condition then?
I was part of a team that was instrumental in getting the collection here. I also was the one who received it from the airport and brought it to the main library, then understanding that at that time the African American Research Library were not open yet, so the artwork were stored at the main library for a while before being transported to the African American Research Library.
And you have a picture of it there. And what was its condition?
This particular one is the ivory mask of Queen Idia, which is a pure ivory, made of pure ivory, carved by the Igbeswamen, which is the guild, the ivory carvers guild of Benin. When it arrived at the in Broward, and we opened the crate, there was no damage to it, because if it were, we will have mentioned that in the list that we have compiled in the for the purpose of insurance.
And you discovered at what point that it had been damaged?
I recall that early this year in February, as I was reassigned to the African American Research Library for precisely the work on another collection, Dr. Nyara Sadakis' collection. I then discovered that the piece was broken in two pieces. The artwork.
And hold that up and show us where the breakage was.
So when I saw it, there was.
Hold it up a little.
There was a. This was approximately, this piece was separated. So I've seen it in two pieces. That's just a matter of fact. then I mentioned it as to how this was done. Understanding that I haven't been very much in touch with this collection for the past 10 years. But when I saw it, it was clearly broken in two pieces because I've seen them in two pieces. I've seen it in two pieces.
Okay. And apparently someone has glued it back together. You say that that is improper because that's not the way ivory is repaired. How is ivory repaired?
Number one, the restoration in this case, we use the word restoration in the field of art, particularly in ivory. So basically, to repair ivory is a long process using heat because pure ivory doesn't burn. So therefore, even to test if an artwork of supposed to be ivory is real, so one has to just burn it. So the process of restoring artwork is a professional field which I do not believe anyone at the African American Research Library is qualified to do.
Okay. Have you been able to determine how this artifact was damaged?
Usually, ivory, although very precious, but is very fragile, just like glass. So therefore, that is why in museum studies, there are particular rules and regulation governing the handling of artwork in ivory, because if it falls on the ground, it is broken into pieces. So therefore, I am assuming that the breakup of this piece is a result of someone dropping it.
And handling.
Yes.
Handling. And how much is that piece worth? What's its value?
The value of this piece now is very difficult to determine in this context, because there is a historical context in which the piece was produced, which also has a certain monetary value.
And what is the monetary value in today's dollars?
I am not actually willing to advance any price at this moment without looking at its condition now, how it is. I don't think that right now it has any monetary value because, number one, it is broken. Number two, the repair that was done added to the damage because it was not professionally done. So therefore, I don't think this piece, at least from a kind of historical standpoint, with the art evaluation of an artwork, has any value that I can put into it.
And who, in your estimation, is responsible for this damage?
Well, for me, responsibility have to lie in the leadership, because while perhaps this was done by a staff, but I am wary about the ways in which all fault are assigned to low-level staff.
So you mean the library system?
That's right.
It didn't arrive in that condition?
Yes. So therefore, it did not arrive here on that condition, under that conditions. If the competent staff were assigned to the handling of this piece, we will not have been talking about it at this time today.